impoverish the people. So there's nothing you will do that does not settle around economy. It's a core. It's a core to development.
So in a bid to get this reform done, are you saying that government should go back to put subsidy?
Well, it will be an argument that we cannot achieve. Yeah, but if you ask government to put back the subsidy, they will still go to remove.
Let's hold on that. This is a government that said that they will hit the ground running from day one, and the hitting of ground from day one was the removal of subsidy. Now we're having high rate of inflation in prices. Food. People cannot afford basic things currently in the country, and he has declared emergency on food security. How do we have food when we are still having the issues of insecurity? Farmers, herdsmen, clashes and all of that. There are so many things that isn't. Because the common Nigerians are not really, the impact of it, the policies as it reads out might be fantastic. But as you said, the reformation, the implementation process is what Nigerians are really looking forward to. So are you agreeing to the fact that, the declaration emergency on food is the way forward to help the situation now?
No. You see, like most of you will put it, that the president hit the ground running. For me, he hit the ground seeking.
Oh.
Yeah, because you see, when you mean someone has hit the ground running, you see, we try to measure impact. One of the attribute of any policy or reform you think of is the impact on the people. You see, there's no government without the people. You see, when people discuss those things, they theorize, economy, feeling that things will get better. No, what is the impact on the people? We have what they call the well-being of the people. Where you measure the indexes. Were we better, or was I better before May 29, or am I better today before May 29? So I will now know that the president have hit the ground running positively. But for me, if what I was buying tin of milk before May 29 at 500, raised it to 650, and my income,
the ground is stealing.
Yes, my income has not increased.
What has the issue of minimum wage?
Good. So inflationary trade, that like what you call marginal inflationary trade at 27%. It was at 22 before the former president left. So when if you aggregate those things, they will have negative impact on the individual on the society. So when you say the president has hit the ground running, no, he has hit the ground seeking. One, the issue of food security, you just said he has declared emergency of food security. I laugh. You see, that is not what it ought to have done. What are the problems? What is the problem of food insecurity? One, the issue of national insecurity, that is when the farmers can no longer access their farmland. Like in Zafara, someone told me, before you could go to farm, you pay tax. Just imagine non-state actors collecting tax on the farmer. So where would the farmer go to farm? That is number one. Two, the issue of inflation. Where would a market woman transport yam or tomatoes from
Benue, for instance,
from Benue or Zaria to Edo State?
And movement.
When you buy a liter at 600 and something, and you transport tomatoes, because those vehicles are on and driven on PMS, yes, to Edo. So you discover that there is going to be high cost of the movement of food items. So that on its own will reduce aggregate demand. So if I have 5,000 to spend on my preference now, I'm trying to draw a scale of preference. So I will now look at the one that is more crucial. So that on its own, we have impact on aggregate demand. How we've been able to spread that across everything. So the government really need to do a lot. They have not taken the right direction. Once they hit the right direction, you will see positive change.
Now let's look at the issue of the palliative, to Nigerians as we way forward. Of course, the federal government yesterday said, from the special advisor to the president, that they have gone back to review on that very palliative decision. Nigerians are wondering and of course asking, would this money, for instance, be from the $800 million or Is it from the savings of the subsidy remover? What is your analysis? How can you touch that?
Well, but I'm happy that they reviewed that stand. We have earlier criticized it.
Yeah.
That how do you give somebody less than $10? That is $9.7 for 6 months. And number one, how do you gather your statistics? Who are the poor of the poorest? Where are your statistics? Where are your data? We have had that in the past. What impact did it make in our economy? There was no impact. As at the time Buhari or what they were paying for 5,000. The poor Nigeria, the poor of the poorest, what you call it, we are less than 80 million. And in the last or in the previous 8 years, he successfully moved over 48 million people into poverty bed. I'll give you one shot.
Briefly.
Yeah, let me tell you this. Since the removal of subsidy, since May 27, from statistics, 6 million Nigerians have been moved into poverty bed. And that is shocking. So just imagine within 2 months or 2 months and a few this thing now, the number of people that have been moved into poverty. So that is to tell you that if government is not careful, if this government is not careful, I just pray they will not go the way that the former administration have gone to, because that government didn't actually make positive impacts in terms of the well-being of the people.
The awareness of Nigerians regarding the presidency's policies on economy is worrisome, and of course Nigerians are wondering whether Nigeria is really in the good times as we move forward. We've been having the policy analysts on the studio here to extra on these issues, but before we go, in a minute, former Nigerian president was the Minister of Petroleum, and of course people are also taking into consideration the Ministry of Budget and Planning, because Nigerians do not have statistics to work with. And we are looking at who really mount these positions. Are you seeing Tinubu's becoming Minister of Petroleum also? And what would you also advise that the presidency should give to who competent to be, not in person, but the description of who really should understand how to manage the Ministry of Budget and Planning, based on the data issues that we have in this country?
We are talking about budget, the Ministry of Budget and Planning or Petroleum, because in the last regime, the former president was the substantive Minister of Petroleum. For me, you run a presidential system where you have executive power. Whether you make yourself a minister, whoever is there will report to you. I do not expect President Tinubu to toe that line of action by remaining as the Minister of Petroleum. That is one. Then in terms of budget and planning, which is key ministry, if you cannot plan, you have planned to fail already. It's not as if we don't have data. The problem we have is that Nigerians don't want to work with data. And I wonder how you can plan without data. And look at your budget. Your budget is not sustainable because of revenue issue. So once you have an over-ambitious budget, a bogus budget without revenue, you can't sustain a budget. For instance, if an individual, you know what you earn in a year is 3 million, and you raise your budget to 20 million, you already plan to fail from day one.
Because you borrow more.
Yes, you borrow more. If you even have access to borrow. And when you
like
borrow,
$800 million, because that's borrowing.
Yeah, but there have been argument that is a grant, is a loan. But from my own study,
we still have issues of debt crisis.
Good. When you spend 67% of your
to service it,
you are already. I don't want to use negative term because I'm in a public. Honestly, Nigerian economic outlook is really bad. We need to do something quickly so that we will not fall into economic crisis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Paul, for your analysis in-depth on issues regarding the Tinubu's presidency, economic policies, as of course Nigerians are looking forward to better days. But Nigerians are really lamenting, as Mr. Paul has rightly analyzed. Viewers, recall during President Buhari's 8 years as, of course, Nigeria's president, Nigeria's economy was marred by surging inflation rates, poverty, corruption and rising food prices, among other social challenges. Nigerians are, however, expecting immediate response from this government to get things done. That is where we can actually hold on for today's conversation on Perspective on Global Television. My name remains Edikan Michael. Keep watching. Don't go away.
talk about the Civil War, but we seem to ignore the fact that it was the manipulation of ethno-religious sentiment.
I think this is a negative part of what we're experiencing.
We want peace and security and stability.
There'll be no shooting anymore.
We must come together as Nigerians.
We are brothers and sisters. Nigeria first before your politics.
We're all engaged in